My name is Ascension Alvarado,
My name is Demi Montoya.
and we're here at Palo Alto Battlefield, one of the main battles from the Mexican-American War. And in this presentation, we're going to be explaining how it got to this point, what happened during the war, and the compromises that arise from this battle. The date is March 2nd, 1836. The newly established Republic of Texas has declared their independence from Mexico. After a long and bloody war, Santa Anna is captured after the Battle of San Jacinto and forced to negotiate with Texas. Treaties are signed that Santa Anna promises will cause Mexican Congress to acknowledge the Republic of Texas as an independent nation. He also claims the Rio Grande will be recognized as the border between the two countries. However, shortly after being released, Mexico denounces any agreement signed by Santa Anna and refuses to recognize independence. Although the United States was officially neutral, around 40% of those soldiers who fought against Mexico arrived from the US shortly after the conflict began. With the US set on westward expansion, the seeds have been planted for a conflict between these two powers. While Texas is striving for independence, the United States is electing a new president. After serving as the 13th Speaker of the House of Representatives and as the Governor of Tennessee, James K. Polk is nominated for presidency in 1844. Polk was not a popular president, with the mocking phrase even arising, "Who is James K. Polk?" However, he shared a belief that was arising within the average American. He was a believer of manifest destiny, supporting the annexation of Texas.
Manifest destiny was a belief of the American people that God has given them the right to occupy all the land, all the way from the Atlantic Ocean to the Pacific Ocean. That was their manifest destiny.
With many American citizens moving to Western territories, Polk made it clear the annexation of Texas and California would be stressed during his term. On March 4th, 1845, he becomes the President of the United States. Even with Polk preparing for a war, Mexico refuses to even negotiate for the territories. Polk finds no other option but to declare war. After the House passes the Senate in a 40-2 vote, the beginning of the Mexican-American War has begun. During negotiations with Mexico, General Zachary Taylor and a group of military forces are sent to the Rio Grande in a hope to intimidate the Mexican Congress into accepting a deal with the United States. After heavy political tension, Taylor leads the U.S. in the Battle of Palo Alto, the first major battle of the war.
General Taylor was in no position to wait for a formal declaration of war. General Taylor led 200 of his troops to victory against an inferior but larger Mexican army.
Since it happened here in Brownsville, I would say the Battle of Palo Alto, and also the Battle of Resaca de la Palma, where Anna High School is right now. Those were two very battles of the Mexican-American War.
Okay.
U.S. forces moved to the Battle of the Resaca de la Palma the next day. The victory eliminates the possibility of a Mexican invasion into the U.S. The strategy is set to invade northern Mexico and then pursue a peace treaty, including the annexation of land north of the Rio Grande. As war wages on in Texas, Lieutenant Gillespie is sent to California in the hopes of sparking a pro-American rebellion. Such a rebellion would then go on to be called the Bear Flag Revolt, and it would justify the annexation of the territory and prevent French and British intervention. In August of 1846, American forces also captured the new Mexican capital of Santa Fe. Almost at the same time, California is set to be captured as Los Angeles is invaded. With the US in clear control of northern Mexico, negotiations begin with Santa Anna. Santa Anna, along with the rest of the Mexican Congress, respond by stating the war with the Americans will continue. Frustrated, Polk orders an invasion of Veracruz, the most important Mexican port. In an effort to invade further into Mexico, Santa Anna's forces are defeated in both the Battle of Monterrey and the Battle of Buena Vista. While negotiations are continued to be made, General Winfield Scott defeats Santa Anna in 3 more battles, including for the Mexican capital in the Battle for Mexico City. On September 1847, Manuel de la Peña y Peña replaces Santa Anna and shows willingness to negotiate for the territories. After a bloody international conflict, Mexico is ready to come to a compromise. On January 1848, officials from both countries meet in the small Mexican city of Guadalupe Hidalgo.
I guess one other thing that was very important of this war was the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo, which made those people that were living here already, those Mexicans that were already living here, it gave them the choice of staying here and becoming American citizens, or going back to Mexico, and of course forgetting about becoming Americans. So they were going to continue being Mexicans, but on the Mexican side of the border. So the Treaty of Guadalupe Hidalgo was very, very important.
The US agrees to let Mexico keep the lower part of California, but most of North California is annexed. Both sides agree to establish the Rio Grande as a border, and they agree on a $15 million payment to Mexico. Although Polk wanted much more territory, with even the Secretary of Treasury wanting to annex all of Mexico, he was glad to bring the war to an end. On June 7th, Mexico ratifies the treaty, officially ending the Mexican-American War.
Well, I guess the fulfillment of the Americans' manifest destiny, which was to occupy, as I said before, occupy all the land, huge amount of land. And of course, one of the things that came out of it was the California Gold Rush of 1849. As soon as they got those states, California, gold was discovered in California. That made a lot of people move west in search of becoming rich.
The Mexican-American War led to the annexation of modern-day California, Nevada, Utah, Arizona, New Mexico, Colorado, Wyoming, and Texas. This added about 600,000 square miles of land to the United States. Despite the massive land gains, many debate whether the US needed to go to war for the sole principle of expansion.
In conclusion, the two nations led to the compromise, which ultimately led to the US gaining new key territories.
This may not be the most popular war, but let us not forget those who gave the ultimate sacrifice fighting for their countries.